click it, get started, and build right there. Also, with our latest data button 2.0, we saw one thing is people love to have both the authentication or the stripe, everything together with minimal credit loss. And that was something we heard a lot from all our users. And I think that was the very first reason we thought that we should have something like templates. And yeah, that was one of the thought, and I think that that's how it started. The entire journey towards building the template started. Mainly it's catered towards as a SaaS template where you can just build your own CRM or any other thing which you can turn into a business solution. So that's how it started, and that's where the few key parts was having the Firebase authentication. I know, Dom, we have almost had 2 or 3 live session building with authentication, Firebase authentication, Firebase storage. And the other part was having a Stripe. And we thought of just putting all them together, have one click and get it started right from there to package it all together. And that's how I think template started. And then Jian came in and he took over this responsibility to build a one click way of starting with templates, not from a scratch. Yeah. So, Jian, like I think this was, if I'm not wrong, this was out there in last week. The template which you shipped.
Yeah, yeah. It was released last week. We were just like feeling the water and seeing what the feedback was and trying to iterate on it as fast as we can.
Nice, nice. And what's there already in the templates? I see that you have the software as a
Yeah.
service and the
So
professionals. Yeah, please go
yeah,
ahead.
we started with this. It's just like a software as a service template. You have your navigation bar here. You have different guides. You have this little login sign up thing. You have animations. So in developing this, we really took reference from many professional, currently out in the market, kind of like templates or like
Hmm.
deployed apps. And here's what we came up with. And a lot of these things are basically you can you can remove any one of these things by simply maybe a little just
Yeah,
yeah, let me bring you to a hidden exclusive hidden directory. But
yeah. Let's do
so
that.
yeah, there's some basic preparation. So once you click on the template button, you will be loaded to your workspace, and then you can use our screenshot feature to basically screenshot whatever you see in the screen, and you can
Hmm.
annotate over the screenshot and say, I want to switch this to create with keyboard or data button over here. And this is how you very simply replace text from in the template, or you can like literally draw around around the image and say, I want to switch this image with something else, and the agent will just do that for you.
And I just
You can, yeah,
I just want to add one thing here for viewers who are using the annotation tool in Data Button. Maybe Jian, a little bit when you start working with the templates, maybe we can just show off if it's possible. If it's already
yeah,
working live, we can show that. But one thing, it was Jian who was the man behind building this annotation feature in Data Button. So if you saw it over the screenshot, you can literally take a screenshot there, add an annotation there with any of this the so-called pen out there. Just add a screenshot there and then refer this to Radar button. You will have the annotate feature, which works pretty well. Like
It's such a
I
great
don't,
tool. It's a great
yeah,
tool,
and
really.
it's very precision. Like one thing which I saw that with under the hood, if I'm not wrong, the image gets processed and then the prompt which is passed along. That's what is working, but it's really fantastic. And it was Jian who created this very first feature, if I'm not wrong, Jian.
yeah. That
Sorry,
was
please go ahead. Yeah,
no,
Jian.
no worries. Yeah, so that was my first feature, and you can just click on this thing, click send preview to agent, and it should just work for you.
Yeah.
Um, so for instance, let's just send the preview to agent. So you capture whatever is within this window. You
Mm-hmm.
could like zoom out perhaps and get a bit more context. And then you can just crop to like give it a bit more focus, and then use the marker, annotate around it. You can add text if you want. And a good way of using this, I digress a bit from the template, but a good way of using this annotation is to instruct the agents. For instance, change the word circled in red
Uh-huh.
to my home. Yep, and you have to sort of relate to whatever the annotation was, and it will change it for you. So
That's fantastic.
this helps us increase the interaction with the agent. So it becomes more like you're talking to a real person. You're pointing to the thing and then say, "I want this changed."
Mm-hmm.
Um, so
Super
yeah, it's
cool.
doing this thing. And see, we have my homepage goes here. So this is how you
Pretty
easily
cool.
use our template to change and make it your own.
Uh-huh. But before, yeah, that's fair. Like I sorry, it's I distracted to the annotation feature, but since it's super cool, I really wanted to go there and have a quick glimpse. But we'll go through them. So yeah, first we add the content, and then we use the annotation feature to change it,
Yeah.
and then how do we use it?
Yeah, and we currently have two templates now. So one is like a very like bare minimum kind of template, and one is more well-built template. And
Mm,
this guide is more for the more well-built template. We sort of overdo things a little. We add components that you might not want, so that you can
mhm.
just easily remove them later. So here's how you remove it. Literally just use the annotation feature, cross it out, tell the agent you don't want it anymore, and it will just remove it for you. And yeah, we can run through this later, but configuring Firebase in Stripe is just like a click away, right? It just start the task and the agent will guide you through it.
And I think I just want to add here. I think that's one of the most key features which lot of users wanted to have authentication and Stripe pre-built. Now when we talk about authentication, Databutton has a native integration with Firebase. So we already wrapped it up out there in the template itself, and we are also also have a documentation over Stripe, which Dom showcased before. So we can also add the Stripe in it, and we wrapped it together into one template, or rather Jian who did that.
Mhm.
And now with one click we can start building with authentication and Stripe. But however, there are few things which we need to also make sure that it works, like the Firebase authentication uh, key, and also, if I'm not, the Firebase config key rather, with the
Mhm.
Stripe webhook URL. Those are few tricks here and there which we need to work with. So Jian will go through those, if I'm not wrong, or otherwise you can just show how to use a template. Maybe we can start with a template, Jian. It's up to you.
Yeah, yeah. Let's start with a template. Um, okay, let's click use template, and it
Yeah.
should just direct you to the app itself.
Yeah, just a quick thing I just want to add again. Before starting this live stream, we are having a bit of downtime with the template because it's a very new feature, and today we just added this. We shipped it today, last week with the data button storage, but today with the Firebase storage. So we are just Gian was still working on it. So hopefully everything runs smoothly, and let's see how it works.
Yep. So clicking on use template directs you to your workspace, and uh, it will take some time to connect to the workspace and generate workspace and update things. Make sure
Hmm.
your environment is Data Button prepares your environment in advance for you so that it becomes more like hassle free as you develop it. And the whole point of template is to really accelerate your vision from your vision straight away. You can like deploy it in no time. And the way we do that is we recognize that a lot of our users sort of like get lost in uh, setting up like authentication database, and our goal is to shortcut you from like idea, remove all the hassle, get you straight to like making the app your own and making your vision come true faster. And we the goal another goal of this
Hmm.
is that we sort of like want to help you save credits. Like we understand that it hurts to spend credits on things that doesn't work. And using templates, we promise you that we'll minimize the credits you'll be using relative to when if as if you were to start over all over again from
Yeah.
scratch.
So Jian,
Yeah,
so what happens? So first time when you are starting with template, you get, if I'm not wrong, you get the two planning step, or
yeah.
is it something which, yeah, let's walk through
So
that.
once you click into a template, the things doesn't really work because you haven't really set up everything. In here we have Firebase config, which is a replace, it's like a placeholder value. It doesn't really work. We also have like in settings, maybe just to introduce a bit of the workspace, you can upgrade your workspace, download a zip file or whatever.
Yeah.
You have your Asian custom instructions here. You can like set funny instructions here. You can like, once you produce your app, you can like deploy your app here with your custom domain like www.hello.com,
Mm-hmm.
and you just select your DNS provider and it should work. And then we have extensions, which is like similar to Firebase. It's actually the same thing. We have design, we have secrets, and some of the secrets here are what you will have to input later.
Mm-hmm.
We have collaborators. So now it's just my other account, and we have
Uh-huh.
this thing.
So
It's
all these
important. Yeah.
so just
So
a thing. So with the templates, all this Firebase and Stripe, if I'm not wrong, the packages come pre-installed, or when the workspace gets generated, those packages also get installed with the
yeah, all
template.
the packages that are needed for the template, the bare minimum, like Stripe packages, like Firestore, we have downloaded it here for you in advance. And all you have to do is just get straight to building. You can upgrade. We recommend that our users upgrade their workspace because this will
Mm-hmm.
ensure that yeah, we are constantly improving the product, and this will keep you most up to date. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, so back to this. Now there's nothing. Now it's just like a
Uh-huh.
basic header and stuff. You can go to plan, and the first thing you do when you go into a template is to go to plan and start the task. If you notice in each task, we have hidden away custom prompts to guide the user to guide you on setting up the keys. So if we were to click start task, and it
Mm-hmm.
will just read, it will just figure out everything, and we will follow it exactly as stated here. So let's see. Step one, add a web app to your Firestore project. So Arc allows me to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Let me just, can
Yeah,
I, yeah, let's do this.
that's pretty good. Like
So let's
while Jian,
create a project.
while you start with the project, I just want to walk through, or maybe Dom, you can also chip in here if you want. Do you notice that? Yeah, perfect. Do you notice that, Dom, here with the first click, we see all the steps in the chat to add a Firebase project and set up the service account key.
Yeah, it's
So
beautiful.
yeah, and this I'm saying because if you remember the last time when we had this live stream of setting up Stripe and and the Firebase, we actually went through this process and we got stuck in that process as well, the service account key part.
Yeah. Yep. No, this is way more clear and it's a great layout.
I think it's a good way to like just to give a quick hint to the users who are building
Hmm.
to understand which to do next. I think this is pretty nice. Is it like
Yep.
Jian? Is it under the hood? You have some custom prompt which is directing which to do next, or how does it work?
Yeah, precisely. We have in the description, we have like custom prompt. You can actually read this and just do everything based on this description here. Uh,
Hmm.
but yeah, why not just let the agent guide you, and it will sort of like, it will ask you whether you have done things, and it will like check with you if it's done, and it will suggest next steps.
Cool.
Yeah, we can run through this.
Uh huh.
Yeah, let's add a web app to your Firebase project. So let's start Firebase project. Let's say Firebase project. This can be any name you want. Uh,
Hmm.
let's disable this,
While you do that,
and
meanwhile, I'll
just wait.
also share the document link. So you are just creating the project in Firebase, right?
Mhm.
Nice. I will also just for viewers who are actually building from scratch, let's say, I'll also share the Firebase documentation which we have over the comment section. Yeah. So if you go through this guide out here, it's all written how to set up the Firebase project, and then from there you can also set up the authentication, also the Firebase database. Everything is out there in the Databutton documentation. All right,
Okay.
where we
Uh,
are now.
yeah,
Nice.
we have intentionally pegged the credits to like 71 and 74 out of
Uh-huh.
74, so that we, this is like the about the same amount of credits, slightly lesser than what you could get if you buy our $20 plan. So we are trying to make it clear that you can deploy your app for just $20. Deploy a
But
professional looking app.
yeah, that's right. And also,
Yeah.
I feel like if we click the restore button, can we see the checkpoints for the credits? Or yeah, so I think that's also a one way to see that how many times agent has written. And as we see right now, there is no way where agent has written any code, so there will be literally no uh, deduction of credits. And I think Jian had this 71 out of 74 prior, right? It's not like when you started this template itself. So, by the way, there is zero cost until now. Jian, let's
Yeah.
go ahead and we'll see
Yeah.
where we
Let's
reach with zero credits. I'm really curious how it goes.
let's see when we start hitting the first credit cost.
Yeah.
So we use web app, and this can be any name that you want. Let's just do a Firebase project again. Okay, let's see. Okay, and if we follow the instructions, go to Firebase console, select your project, add a web app, which we have done, and a nickname, which we have done. You
Mhm.
see the Firebase configuration, which is this
Yeah.
Firebase config. What you want to do is just copy this,
Copy that part from the
open,
constant Firebase config. Yeah.
open this, replace with whatever you have here, and you
Mhm.
press save new config. You don't
And if
actually
I'm
have
not
to wait for it.
if I'm not wrong, those that was just a placeholder. The in the very
Yeah,
beginning was just a placeholder.
yeah,
And
yeah.
is it because that gives error if we don't keep it, or you just
Yeah.
wanted to be there just for the someone who's building for the first time to have a view of how this config key looks like, or what is the reason behind keeping that?
Yeah. Well, ideally, if we have a cleaner implementation, we will like have a zero, like clean
Mhm.
state
Yeah.
Firebase config. But now, because we already have pre-built some things on top of it,
Yeah.
if you have Firebase config, you try to read Firebase config, and if it doesn't make sense, then it
Mhm.
will cause some error. So
I see.
hence we
I see.
have to have a placeholder at the start.
I see. That was
Yeah.
more of like a
So
fallback, and you just want to handle that with a dummy
yeah,
config
yeah.
file. That makes sense. All good. Yeah.
Okay. So we have clicked on the Firebase and we have input our config key.
Mhm.
In the setup service account is the next thing. So we click console, continue to console. And we want to go to project settings
Mhm.
and your service accounts over here. So project overview, project settings, which is where you are. You want to click
Mhm.
on service accounts. And this is quite important. You want to click on Python.
Uh-huh.
Uh,
While
so
you
this is
download
what,
that, while you
yeah,
download that, and while you download the Python key, I'll just also quickly mention this. Jen, go ahead with the go ahead with this settings. So in Databutton, we have Python as the backend, and we can use both the React frontend and also Python as the backend. And that's where we will be leveraging this Python backend while setting up Stripe. And that there were we are not there to only have the authentication, but we're also there to have the Stripe integration. And for the Stripe integration, we need to store the user's unique ID, which Jen will show soon. And we need to store that. And while we will store that, we need to store it back to the database, and that database will be the Firebase data store. And for that we need this this particular service account key which Jian just downloaded, and you just need to copy that and add it over Databutton's secret environment.
yeah.
Sorry, Jian, go ahead. Yeah.
No worries. Yeah. So as you know, it is a private key. I was not supposed to show it to you, but anyways, it's just a throwaway project.
Yeah.
You shouldn't share it with other people as well. You should like keep the file safe. So then you paste it in this Firebase service account, which is as we have followed here, Firebase service account, create a new secret key this, and paste the content in. So this content, all this text basically comes from the file that we just downloaded. And we click OK to save it. And it has saved it successfully. And let's continue with the other steps. So could you confirm when you have completed these first two steps, then we'll continue with
Uh-huh.
authentication. That's done. Okay. And notice, even though we are communicating with it, we're not penalizing the user with any credit cost at all. You see, it's still 71 out of 74. So great, let's continue with the next step, set up authentication with Google Sign-In. Now, so service accounts is done. Let's go back to project overview. Okay, click on authentication and click on
These
get
these
started.
these instructions are awesome.
I think it's very helpful actually. And
This is a much better experience. It's really a night and day change in the workflow.
yeah, and I think we should also add this to our documentation, Dom. What do you think?
Yeah. Yes.
Because
Absolutely.
what Jian did this with under the hood with all these changes in the custom prompt, it is really
Yeah.
helpful in a way,
Yeah.
and it's a very well aligned direction from the agent itself. So I think it will be
100%.
worth to update our current Firebase integration with this as well. For people who are starting from scratch, I think it's the same. It
Yeah.
should be there. But now we have templates, so I don't think we need to start from scratch at all. Just hit the template and just get started with the auth and Stripe there. So yeah,
Yeah.
Mhm.
makes sense. All right. So
Okay,
I think
yeah,
Jian added a sign-in method. Jian,
yes.
would you please go through that?
Yeah, all we did was add new provider, click on Google and
Mhm.
click enable, and we have Google enabled. Firebase really simplifies things. It's like a black box authentication tool.
Yeah.
You don't really need to know how it works underneath. Uh,
Uh,
so in the sign in method, click on Google to enable it, which you have done. Enable the sign and the switch, which you have done. Click save. Now we go to authorized domain section in settings. Let's go to settings, and you have authorized domains. Now,
yeah.
when we're here, we have to add the following domains. Let's copy this. Let me just paste it here. And another thing that we have to add is your deployment URL, which is your username, databutton.app.
Mhm.
For new users, you have to set a username first. In this case, my username for this account is called throwaway. So this is my username. This is databutton.app. You have to exclude this part. Okay, so let me just copy this
Yeah.
at domain, and I just need up to databutton.app, which
Mhm.
is as we have seen here, and click add.
So with this
And
step, I
there we
think
go.
we are whitelisting
Yep.
the URLs. We are
Yep.
allowing one of the production URL with the preview URL, which is basically databutton.com.
Mhm.
And also if it's something which will in the production, which you deploy the app with one click, that is also we are whitelisting, if I'm not wrong. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, now we have whitelisted as Avra has shared. Next, we want to set up Firestore. So there is a
Mhm.
bit of a difference. So far, Firebase console has many different tools, and authentication is one of the tools, and Firestore is another tool. Uh, Firestore is basically like a text-based database. So it only stores text. If you want to store files and photos and videos, you have to use Firebase storage. The names get a bit confusing, but it's important to know which one you have to use. If we go back to project overview, so each of these sort of like explains what this is. So Cloud Firestore, it has real time whatever.
Mhm.
Store and retrieve user generated content. So this is for larger files like photos and videos, and this is for more text based ones. And this is what we're using. So let's set up Firestore. Click on Firestore database, click on create database. So this is the next step.
Mhm. That's nice. So now we just create a database. Ah, perfect.
Mhm. And we are in Europe and Norway, so we're gonna
Uh-huh.
select Europe. Let's
And
start
we
in
start in
test
the
mode.
test mode. Yeah.
Okay. So select the location closest, click enable, which is what we have done. And yeah, okay, seems like we've done most of it. And Databutton has prepared a very simplified tool for you to test whether everything is working. So head over the Firebase button, click test connection,
Yeah.
and you just let our tool run. And as you can see, once you have completed all the steps, you have 4 out of 4 passed, which means now your app can store data to this Firebase here, and it can also allow authentication. So
That's
let's test it out.
that's something which was also added last week, if I'm not wrong, Jan. And this helps a lot to keep in track with how much we have went ahead with our
Mhm,
Firebase integration. Like it's not only about
mhm,
authentication; it's also the database which you need to enable. And we also heard like a lot of feedback on this because a few things which we need to enable is the Firebase authentication, which we have to do in our Firebase project, and also the data store part also we need to enable. So those things, it's often we just forget to enable it, and as a result, the agent goes in a loop. And that's also we improved a lot with this Firebase connection test. That helped a lot to keep in in alignment with the agent.
Yep.
Right. Yeah.
Okay, so now let's test out the Firebase. So
Huh?
let's click on login, and I have quite a few duplicate accounts, but
Quite a few duplicate accounts.
just to test things out, make sure everything. So see,
Nice.
it registers your email and it knows that you're inside Databutton, and you
Mhm.
can also test this right to Firestore. Let me just put this aside. Okay, let's test it out. Test this out. Let's hope it works.
Moment of truth. Let's
So,
see.
hello world. Well, it's not. It doesn't appear, but you just have to do a quick refresh, and
Yes.
there you go.
And there we
Hello
go.
world. Hello world from front.
Fantastic.
You have
And
just integrated Firestore in
how
with
many credits did we use? Can you show the
yeah,
checkpoint, please? I'm
perfect.
really curious now.
We are still at 71 of 74 credits, so that's no credit used at all.
The
Yeah.
most happiest person out here is Dom. No more credit lost anymore. Dom, unless your background noise is too much, please feel free to chip in. What do you think
No,
about it?
it's beautiful. It's beautiful. So, something so many people have been asking for. Great job.
No, I really think this is fantastic. Can you also, Jian, if you don't mind, can you also show the checkpoints if we have any code change or not? Let's see.
Yeah,
The
let's restore.
we have
We
one.
did update this, but it doesn't sort of like count as a code change. It's more of like it's just saving your data, your
Yeah.
keys and stuff.
So
So
let's say we have one credit. Okay, let's be fair out here. We should also remove that in future if that's I'm not sure. Maybe it had one credit deduction, but we can make it also. We can deduct that as well because any code. I think this happened when we. I'm curious because I think this happened when we added the Firebase test. Maybe I'm not sure. This one
yeah,
there where we
yeah.
consumed one credit, but maybe we should also remove that for the test. Yeah. Otherwise, it's with one credit or let's say zero credit, we have the entire authentication up and running.
Mhm.
Now, what's next, Jan? Please guide
Yeah.
us.
So with Right to Firestore works,
Yeah.
authentication works, pricing doesn't work because we have not done anything with in relation to Stripe. So
What
if
do I
you
see in
see
the
there
console
is an
log?
issue. Error trying to match. You do not have whatever subscription
Subscription
status
status. I
for.
see.
Yep. Let's set up Stripe next then. So let's
Yeah,
say
let's do that.
is
I
there
mean, let's.
anything? Nope. Firebase works well now. Let's move on to the next step.
Mhm. This will be fantastic if we can do the Stripe because that's now one of the most biggest roadblock for a lot of users. And with Stripe, the thing is you have to add or enable a webhook, and that you have to add over Stripe. Stripe then triggers this webhook, this backend which will create, which Jian already have, I think, if I'm not wrong, the backend, and that would also, if that everything works well, the Stripe account details will be added to the Firebase data store. So, right? Let's see.
Yep.
But
Let's
yeah, okay. Oh, yeah. The guideline is already there, so we don't need to say much. Go ahead, Jan, please.
Yeah, once you start the task, the agent will just tell you what to do. So it's very pre-built instructions given for you, prepared for you. So ensure app deployment. Okay, let's just deploy the app. Maybe
Let's
I
do
don't
that.
think I already
You
have
have
an app
to
with this.
give a new name. That name is already taken. I'm pretty sure when testing you have added that name.
Yeah, I've tested a lot of times this.
Yeah.
Uh,
No, it's fantastic.
so let's start
I'm
deployment.
I'm pretty
Yeah.
sure you're gonna add more of these templates in future. What's the plan?
Mhm.
Are you going to add more templates or shall
Yeah.
we or don't you want to spill any secrets now? What you're
So
working on? Yeah.
for those in the audience who isn't in our Discord channel, we actually have like active discussion with our community on what the best templates to build are, and we have received so many fantastic feedback, and we have been iterating on our feedback on our templates ever since then. And our community champions have chipped in a lot with regards to this. You should see more templates coming out in the future. Right now, it's called kind of like limited to Firestore, Firebase, Stripe. We expect to create like super base and maybe base app. Like for instance, the restaurant ordering app that I mentioned earlier, we could create a template like that, and any restaurant owner who wants to like have their own order from table kind of app just get our template, make it your own, and deploy it with like under $20, right? Relative to hiring freelancers who will cost you upwards of a few $1,000s for this simple thing. You can do it in Firebase in Databutton now with like little to no cost.
Fantastic, man. I think this is pretty sick. Seeing the Stripe getting integrated, it's really cool. All right, so is it getting deployed or is it deployment? Okay, so it's
Yeah,
deploying
it's
your app.
still deploying at the
So it's still
moment.
getting deployed.
But we can, no worries, we can continue with our steps. So
Hmm.
while deploying our app, let's create a pricing table in Stripe. So once you register for a Stripe account, this is the Stripe dashboard. Create a pricing table. And then maybe let's just say, let's add
Yeah,
a new
let's.
product. And
I
let's say
remember. I
Firebase.
remember we did the same thing in one of our live stream previously, where we started with this pricing embed table, if I'm not wrong, Dom, and we actually created this embed link. I think which you will get after this step, and it helps a lot, and it reduces the way we can embed a Stripe table and just embed with Databutton's UI. It's pretty fast actually to integrate that. And I think you just need to add some product details and everything, which Jian is now adding there.
Yeah,
And hopefully we'll get a code snippet
say
out there.
maybe you can add
Nice.
another product.
Hmm.
Firebase.
And we can also control the button color and all, right,
Let's say,
Jian?
yeah, for sure. Let's say project $50. Let's see,
Uh-huh.
let's
All
add
right.
this. And we say like this for $50 and let's add a product. You can add as many products as you want, really.
Hmm.
And then in here you can select the color.
Oh, nice.
Since our app color is more blue, maybe I select some of the blue color.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, let's click continue. And before we get ahead of ourselves, let's refer back to the instructions. Create pricing table, and in the confirmation page, important, in pricing table settings, set the confirmation page to redirect back to the deployment URL followed by /dashboard. So
I see.
if you click on deploy, this will give
Hmm.
you your deployment URL. Copy
Hmm.
that. Let's not show confirmation page and let's redirect the user back to our
I see.
page.
Jian, it will be possible to zoom in that part a bit if it's
Oh,
possible.
sure. Yeah.
That would be fantastic. Yeah.
Okay,
Maybe
and
we
how
can.
do we sort of
Mhm.
like figure out that is /dashboard, right? You don't necessarily have to /dashboard. And
Mhm.
here, because it depends on what page we want to refer to. If you want to go back to home, just leave it as it is. Firebase project will direct you by default back to home. If you want to
Mhm.
direct back to login, just do a
Uh-huh.
/login.
And when you say the this link, it's basically after the checkout where it will get redirect to. That's what you meant, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I see.
We
Yeah.
can test this out later. But for now,
Mhm.
it's just after checking out, it will redirect you. Let's redirect it back to pricing.
All
So we
right.
set /pricing. So as you can see, it's literally just your deployment URL
Mhm.
followed by your app name. And all this front part, you can get it from this deployment part. And then
Fantastic.
after that, you just need to select your page, add your page name.
Mhm.
Okay, so let's copy that and make sure that this does the same. Don't show, click continue.
Mhm.
And we can click finish. So we have just created our pricing table. And this pricing table is basically like, you're basically designing a pricing table in Stripe, which you can then port over to our Databutton app. Okay, let's see. We have redirected it back, and then add Stripe API keys to Databutton secrets. In your Stripe dashboard, search for API keys. Let's do that. API
Mhm.
keys.
And this particular code which you got like from the embed table, you will give it back to data button.
Well, the code is already written for you in Databutton. All
Mhm.
Databutton is doing is querying this pricing table from
I
Stripe
see.
using
I
the
see.
Stripe table ID.
I see. So you
So
automated that
no
part. You don't
code.
even need to.
Yeah,
You don't even need to copy that code
yeah.
snippet. Oh,
It would
fantastic.
just refer to the secret, and that's all. That's why
That's it.
we are able to achieve this with like little or no credits.
Fantastic.
Okay, let's go to API keys. Developers API keys. You see
Mhm.
your publishable key and your secret key.
Mhm.
I'm in the default sandbox. That's why I can share this. If not, that'll be disastrous. Uh, let's add the following secrets. Let's go to
Yeah.
settings. Let me
Uh-huh.
just limited screen space here. Okay, secrets. And if you see, maybe I enlarge this a bit more. Okay, we have Stripe API key, and this Stripe API key really just relates to your Stripe secret key. So we take the secret key,
Mm-hmm.
copy it, go over the Stripe API key, and key it in. Now, next up, we have our Stripe publishable key, which is just here. Copy the Stripe publishable key, reveal it, enter. Finally, we have our Stripe pricing table key. Let's go back to our pricing table.
Yeah.
And some of you may have many pricing tables, but this is the one that I've been using that we just created together here.
Mm-hmm.
Let's copy this. You can see that it's pricing table ID, and
Mm-hmm.
then it's just this pricing table. So
Okay,
let's
so
copy
this
that.
this ID which we give, and you have already formatted that script under the hood.
Yeah.
Fantastic. I see. I
So
think what me and Dom did was way more complicated. I mean, it's not complicated. We just copied this entire code and we just
yeah,
gave it to Databutton to embed it.
yeah,
What you are doing is you're just giving the ID and under the
yeah.
hood. Yeah, that's why it's a template. Yeah, I always forget that. Yeah, fantastic. That's good.
Literal no work done.
Yeah,
You just
this
key
is
in the
pretty good.
key and it will figure it out.
It's just few steps which you need to do.
Yeah,
But Jian, while you
Way,
do
way
that,
better than what we did.
yeah, it's way better, way better. No, I agree. I mean, we tried it in a very, yeah, we tried a lot of steps there, but I think that's good. If you're building from scratch, just follow our live stream, and
Mhm.
if you're building something from the template, I think this is already there. It's pretty smart hack. I like it, Jian. Fantastic. I just want to take a quick question. Can we buy a host? Can buy and host a domain inside Databutton? I think Jan, if you can show us how can we, let's say I have a domain from Namecheap that
Yeah,
is www.jian.com, and I want
yeah,
to add it there. It's you have to just add it there in custom domain and send a request to us. Also add a provider maybe. Yeah. So we almost support. Yeah, and this will trigger our
uh,
internal Slack, and where
yeah,
Wovind will put it in production. There is also a guide we have, which is something we
yeah,
have, and we just need to wait when this passes. I think typically depends how we start the entire thing, and it will be just within 1 or 2 working days we'll get it done. That's right. All good. Let's come back to where are we now, Jian?
uh, maybe on that note, I just give a little introduction into how that is done. Maybe just find the point app. Yeah, let's try this.
Oh,
So
you're showing that the this one. You're
yeah,
showing the
yeah.
custom domain. Oh, okay, okay. We're
I
still
think
there.
there's a little confusion with this.
I will
So
just keep it there. Yeah.
so yeah, let's just do www dot that's myname.com, and then whatever domain you have, right, is a custom domain. You can also like request, say like just this,
Hmm.
based on whatever, like if you bought the domain name from Namecheap, Cloudflare, whatever.
Yeah.
And then you select your DNS provider here,
Hmm.
and in my case, it's from Namecheap. I send the request, and
Could not send a domain request. Maybe like we
yeah,
have already added a domain from that, then you have to remove it.
oh yes,
So
you're
that you
right.
have to maybe a
Let's
new
do,
app. Let's see. Okay,
yeah,
so if
you're
you have
right.
already tested with
So
that, then you have to send it. Yeah,
the issue is like domain names have to be unique, and
unique.
some I've been testing it. That's why, uh, yeah.
And
So
then and
once
then
you
and then there's
send,
open. Yeah,
yeah, once you send a domain request, and Owen will have this like very funny
let's show that. Yeah,
bubble that pops up,
and
and
there were
you just
comes.
like flow it, yeah, and find your DNS. It gives you sort of a guide here, but if we were to sort of like summarize some of the things, currently your domain is not activated. You're
Hmm.
waiting for certificate validation, and this certificate basically refers to whether you own, whether we are able to prove that you own the domain.
Yeah,
So once we are able to prove that you own the domain, then we can link your domain, that domain that you requested, to your Databutton app. So this certificate is quite important, and
yeah,
this sort of like proves to us, or proves to AWS or whatever, that you own the domain, and then this is how we redirect to your app. So this
yeah,
is actually your app. If you see this, this will lead you to your app.
yeah.
So we're
That's
just
right. And
basically doing some redirecting here.
and you will always monitor the status out there, which will
Yeah.
become green when everything's the security
Yeah.
passes, if I'm not wrong. And yeah,
Hmm.
that's something for
Yeah.
certificate validation. And yeah, and then yeah,
Hmm.
so to answer in short this question, yes, we can just have our own domain bought from Namecheap or somewhere else, and then we can just request a domain, and it takes just few steps from our end and also from your end to
Yeah.
copy those, and it's there. Perfect.
Uh, yeah, we don't sell domain names, so you have to buy it from like Namecheap or whatever, and then you
Yeah,
just key it in for here.
that's
And
right.
this process is completely free.
Yeah,
And
I just add this process. You need to be on $50 package or above
Mhm.
to do that. Otherwise, it's free. So it's technically free, but
Mhm.
we have a threshold because it takes a bit of manual work from our end as well. So it's
Yeah.
$50 or above to apply for the custom domain.
Mhm.
All right, and then we go to the template then.
Okay.
But it's
Yeah.
great that you completely explain
One
this
last
process
thing
because
that
it's
one
important.
last
Yeah.
thing that I may add for this is that once you key in this in your DNS
Hmm.
registrar, which is like Namecheap or whatever,
Hmm.
then this will light up green. And once this lights up green, there's nothing left for you to do. You just wait for us to activate your domain, and we will sort of like get a notification once this lights up green, and we'll activate it for you. Great.
We have a very template based question. I think I would love to take this question. And Jian, I think you are the best person to answer this. If I already have an app half built, can I use any of the templates to make it better or no?
Yeah.
It's a very
So
binary question, or just give a full answer to it.
Uh, actually, to add on to answer that question, earlier today I was using my own template to fix some issues that I had in another app. And the reason behind this is that if you realize this Stripe pricing table and this Stripe config and this Stripe, it's just three files related to Stripe. And you can sort of feed these clean files, clean as in it works well, it has no errors, you definitely run feed these clean files to the agent. Maybe use this to tell the agent, okay, this works. What are you doing wrong uh, that the other correct one is doing already? So
Mhm.
just maybe copy the code here, send it to the agent, and say, see what you're doing wrong based on this clean code, and you should be able to work. It should
Yeah,
work.
I think that's something which is always possible. Basically, you just take the code from there and
Mhm.
put it back in your own app.
Mhm.
And templates are mainly meant to start from the templates.
Mhm.
So I would say that's something which we have in mind. Well, since still it's a work in progress, so we are still trying to figure out what's the best way. And a lot of GN is already building a lot of other templates as well. But the main idea behind template is to get started with your app with the major functionalities. Now yes, if you want to put back your templates or just add a part of the templates, you can just in Databutton right now, as of today, you can create as many apps as possible with your any subscription plan. So you can just check this particular code, treat it as a boilerplate, just use it, and then you go for it and just copy and paste, work the same way. But that part we leave on to the users how they want to use it, at least for today. That's how we are doing it. Okay.
Yep.
uh,
So let's go back to the task. Uh,
Well, we have more questions about the templates, but please go ahead, go ahead. I
yeah.
will.
So
We'll just do that, and we'll make sure we
we
answer all
added
the
the
questions.
following. We've
Hmm.
added the following secrets. Let's continue to webhook. It says send, and
This part is very important.
this part
This
tends
part
to
is
get a bit
important.
confusing.
Let's go through this part in details because I think that's where a lot of users, even I was confused on the first time I was building. I think Dom, you might have some input on this part when we create the webhook, put it over Stripe, and the Stripe then sends a post request to our backend. This is very important. Jian, please
Yeah.
go through this part.
So let's we have told the agent to move on to webhook. So it's instructed us in your Stripe dashboard, go to developers, webhooks. So let's go to you can actually just search for webhook and event destinations. Let's click on that.
Mhm.
And so go to developers, webhook, add endpoint. So sort of like similar. Maybe we should fine tune the prompt a bit too.
Yeah.
But anyways, add destination.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
the first thing you want to do, yeah, Avra, you think?
No, no, please, go ahead. I was just
Okay.
thinking like the
Yeah.
add endpoint and add webhook. That's the terminology
Mhm.
which you mentioned to fix.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we just follow exactly as stated here. And let's go to, so we want to type in select for checkout session completed. So checkout session completed, click this
Mm-hmm.
and click continue. So it's a webhook endpoint, click continue.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to find our webhook URL. So let's go to Databutton API URL, then we add a webhook at the end. So where do you find this? You go to settings, go to production,
Yeah.
and in the API prefix, hit copy. Then paste
We
it
just.
here.
Uh-huh.
And this whole chunk basically gets pasted here. And at the end of it, if we follow the agent's instructions clearly, you just need to add slash webhook. So let's do
Mm-hmm.
slash webhook.
I
And
see.
we create destination.
I'm just curious. Yeah. Okay. So that part you have added is the API prefix.
Yeah, API prefix and the slash trailing slash webhook. And now we have to, if we continue reading the instructions, after creating webhook, you'll see a signing secret. Copy this secret. So signing secret, reveal, click copy,
Mm-hmm.
and let's head back to our secrets. So settings, head back to secrets
Secrets.
and stripe webhook secret. Let's type this.
And I just want to
Represent.
add, while you do that, I just want to add that Databutton has its own secret environment management place. So basically, you can just have all your secrets from your OpenAI API key or your Anthropic API key or your Stripe Webhook API key, anything which needs to be a secret, it's maintained here. So you just need to go to settings, secrets, there all the secrets are managed. Plus, Databutton has its own Python SDK, which is databutton db.secrets to fetch that. And there where Vijayan will show and explain that part as well. That's how we fetch that Stripe webhook secret key or the pricing table, everything from the backend. And while we speak of that, we have a question or we have a suggestion, feedback, and this is
Yeah.
fantastic. Would be great for the templates to come up with an inbuilt chatbot. Can we add
Well,
something, Jian?
it depends on what this use case is for. Is your template, are you asking for live chatbot, inbuilt chatbot because your final app wants to use like OpenAI API? If
I
that's the case,
Yeah,
yeah, we definitely have something in the roadmap for that. So stay
fantastic.
tuned.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Jen is already working on, but we would love to hear more templates suggestion because we need more ideas about what kind of template is more important
Mhm.
from a
Yeah.
perspective of like if you're building your own business or your own SaaS product.
Mhm.
Uh, yeah, what kind of templates you need? Just throw it in the comment section or just write to us over Discord, wherever you feel like. Just go for it. Dom,
Yeah.
if you ask for any templates, what would be that?
I'm still thinking about that. I'll get back to you on that, but I've been thinking about a lot of different things.
A lot of different things. It's hard
Yeah,
to choose one, right? Yeah,
it
but
is. Yeah.
mhm. But one thing which I know Jian is working on. I don't know if I should.
Does it start with an S?
Jian is actually working on your favorite thing, which is your connecting with Superbiz.
I knew it. I didn't want to say it because I don't want to jinx it, but I'm
You
looking
knew it.
forward to that. I
Yeah,
knew that's what you referred to.
it's it's not the easiest one to work with,
Mhm.
but especially like but Jian, I think today we were discussing during the lunch time.
Mhm.
Jian has already achieved that part. It feels like it will be out there soon, perhaps this week or next
Yeah.
week, or we should have a live stream on that also,
Oh, I can't wait to demo that one. I can't wait to try that one
or
because
maybe
I went through a lot of trial and error to get it where it
yeah,
was stable enough to work, and even then, I'm still I still have trouble with certain things, but
or
I'm
maybe
excited.
next time, Dom, once Jian releases that template, it will be you who gonna experiment on the first template over the live stream. How about that? And me and Jian will be watching from here.
I have a really good idea of how to demo it.
Perfect. Let's do that.
Nice.
All right, Jian. So
Yeah.
where we are now?
So we have set everything up. Once you for you watch for the audience, members of the audience who want to like figure out why we had to add the slash webhook at the end.
Yeah,
If you go into our APIs, if you hover over Stripe, you see there is a post request webhook.
that's true.
And
Yeah.
the endpoint is literally called /webhook, which is why we have to deploy the app first so that the Stripe can access our endpoint, which is called /webhook, which is why we had to add that trailing /webhook as well. So while we were chatting just now, I just hit deploy, so let it run in the background. And let's hope this works. Yeah, let's click this. Let's log in.
Let's see. And also, like,
And
just want to add that in this, Stripe triggers our backend, and that creates the post process of the Firebase, the Firestore data store, and that's why we use the service account. Maybe Jian, we will come back to that. That's the plan.
yeah,
So it would be
yeah,
fantastic if you just go through why we need the
okay,
Firebase service account key. Yeah.
yeah. Uh, well, yeah. So basically, if you are accessing Stripe via the backend, you have to have the service account key. Sort of like proves that you have the permissions to write to the database in the backend. So here in the pricing table, so a lot of our users sort of like ask about Stripe questions, but usually you are not in test mode, which means we are forced to use our actual credit cards to test this, which doesn't make sense. So if you are reaching out to support, make sure you enable test mode, which is basically just running Stripe in a sandbox. And
Maybe
yeah,
you answer this questions if you understand correctly. How do I set up a free option or discount on Stripe to have them reflected on my
yeah.
app?
All of this is done on Stripe. All we are doing now is just like pulling the table here. So free option or discounts, maybe let's go back to here. And in the pricing table, there are many different options, many like varieties that you can. Let's edit pricing table. Just hit back. And you can include a free trial over here. And this everything is done on Stripe. All we are doing is pulling the table over. And let's test this out. So hit
It's time to
subscribe.
test. Yeah.
Yeah. In test mode, the benefit of test mode is that we are given a test card, and test card is basically
Photo, photo, photo. Yeah.
and you can key in anything for these. Let's hit subscribe. So it's sending requests to the payment. Your payment is going through Stripe, and once that's done, it will redirect us to where we said the confirmation page was. Remember earlier we said don't show confirmation page, redirect to /pricing, and that's what we should see, /pricing. And you currently have an active Firebase project, this subscription. Now, since we have connected this with our Firestore,
Mm-hmm.
what you should see,
Let's see if it went through or not. It
there we
didn't go.
go, subscriptions.
It went through.
You have your user
Perfect.
and you have this. So now every data is stored safely in your Firestore. It's not stored locally in Databutton.
Yeah.
So you have full control over this, and it's all done for you already.
This is fantastic. This is like, so every data, like whichever the user is using, that's going directly back to the Fire store.
Yeah,
Wow, fantastic. And I'm
yeah.
again the last question. I mean, not the last question, but for this part, how many credits did we use for this? I
Yeah,
mean,
let's check. Let's go back to
let's see the checkpoint. So,
we are still at 71 or 74 credits. So
so it
what
is
we have done
template.
today, yeah,
Yeah.
what we have done today is set up Firebase auth, Firebase storage,
Mm-hmm.
Firestore or rather, and Stripe at 0 credits. So you actually have I have actually deployed this. So anyone in the world can just go to this link
And pay you.
and you can view the live app. Yeah, and pay me if you want to pay. I'll just switch off the test mode.
Yeah, you just switch on the test mode and just go there.
Yeah.
But this is fantastic, Jen. I mean, this templates, I think it was one of the simplest templates. You also have other templates.
Hmm. Hmm.
We today have covered only the basic part, but it's fantastic. But we should also cover that maybe in future live stream. But this
Yeah.
is really cool. Okay, and if there's something which you should mention, or maybe we should highlight in this part, which is very important while setting it up from your
Hmm.
experience, which is
Hmm.
important, and you would love to highlight that part. Please go ahead then.
Yeah, definitely struggled a bit. And as I struggled, that becomes an opportunity to make things easier for our users. So we sort of like note down the struggles, figure things out, and then like make sure that the users don't have to go through them. And one of
Mhm.
the main pain points. We're sort of like figuring out how to uh, add data like reliably, consistently to Firestore. And if you use our template, what you'll find in our template is this firestore.ts file. And this
Yeah.
firestore.ts basically has many pre-built functions for you to use. Get collection, set document. So in Firestore, a document is sort of like this. This is a document. This is a
That's
piece of
right.
document, and this is like your collection. And this is very similar to if Mac users are familiar with like a directory structure like that. When you open your Finder, you will see something like that. So Firestore is actually quite beginner friendly. It's very a lot of graphical. It's like a graphical user interface for you to play with. And so these functions help to give you a very reliable way of updating, creating fields, creating documents, reading documents, updating, deleting documents. All you have to do is tell the agent something like, I want to add this document to Firestore. Use hashtag Firestore, which is our UI files here, to figure out how to do this. And it just replace this document with whatever you want to add. And it will just use the tried and tested functions to add your data to Firestore. So another layer of abstraction done for you. You don't really have to worry about how to add things. Just code the file, and the
Hmm.
agent will use that file to send information to Firestore. And that's also this schema. This schema basically tells you, helps to generate the structure of the Firestore of your database. So there are some like instructions here that I don't know why I put in caps, but uh,
That's good. That's great for the agent to make sure that
yeah.
it's there.
So maybe I could sort of demonstrate this. Run the hashtag Firestore schema file
Yeah.
and show me the schema of my Firestore database. And the power behind Databutton's agent is that we can create endpoints and run endpoints for
Yeah,
you.
I think this is a great point actually, and we always underestimate this part. And I
Mhm,
think it's one of the huge differentiator in data button. We have a Python
mhm.
backend with the data button agent. You can actually test that endpoint every time, and that's what Jian did right now. It ran a test on the generated schema, and if you just not only do it with Firestore or with any Python backend, if you have created, you can actually test it in data button, and that's very powerful. And yeah, that's something which is working now. Data button is testing your endpoint. At
Yep.
times it tests
And
with
it generates these
it
files.
generates
And
it's
these
storing over
files are very
storage. Yeah,
useful. These files are very
interesting.
useful for your agent because it sort of gives your agent visibility into what's in your Firebase, what's in
Hmm,
your
hmm.
Firestore, what's the structure of your Firestore. So if we look into here, it sort of like highlights everything, right? It has collections, subscriptions, which is here. It has documents, document ID, which is this. It
Yeah.
has fields created at subscription. So what the beauty of this is that in developing your app, if you sort of like if your database gets too big, what this
Uh-huh.
does is it synthesizes all the fields they have in your Firestore, and all you have to do is really just use hashtag Firestore schema or structure diagram
Uh-huh.
and add whatever data in the appropriate place, and it will just figure out because you sort of show it the map, and it will sort of like it will be able to pinpoint where best to put a certain field at, rather than you having to go to Firestore and like, maybe this is the
Exactly.
best place. Let the agent do it for you,
I think
and
this is
that's really
something
the beauty of it.
very cool. I think to understand the structure of the Firestore, I think this is a really nice hacky way to understand in data within data button. This is really
Yeah.
cool actually. So, and by the way, just for users who were or the viewers who are first time using data button or have not used data button, like how Jian is doing, is he's using the hashtag option to always refer to a file or refer to an endpoint or refer to a UI component. Whenever we press that hashtag, all these features come up. And under the hood, data button agent has a lot of information about individual features, or let's say call it as file, or we call it as storage, or we call it as a UI pages. It helps in prompting. It's like a precision prompting and target your prompt to a specific feature, and it helps a lot. So that's what Gian is using every time.
Yeah, it's very similar to like if your friend tells you go there and you're like
Uh-huh.
where, rather than
Exactly.
like maybe your friend just say go to that mall, and that's much clearer, right? The
Much
agent
clearer.
doesn't have to waste time figuring out where you wanted to go, what you wanted to do. Use the precision prompting.
Precision prompting. And I think when we say that, I must share the documentation of what we wrote back long back with the data buttons, best way to do that. But Jian, please go forward with few of these tips and tricks which you have on how to use this template. And meanwhile, I will share this over the comment section,
Yeah,
so that
maybe, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, some other tips, I guess. If you're working on independent tasks, so for instance, you're working on task A, and task B is what you're working on next. You're done with task A, and task B and task A are not related at all. You don't need the chat history. It doesn't hurt to just say, like, repeat some things. If it doesn't hurt to repeat some things,
Hmm.
um, then I would advise you to start a new thread. Starting a new thread sort of clears the memory of the agent. It
Exactly.
reduces what it has to know. And once you ask agent something in a new thread, it is able to answer you with a much clearer mind. It doesn't lose track or lose focus on redundant data. So it
That's
really
right.
just focuses on what you want to build.
That's a great point, actually. And also, when Jian says about task A or task B, I think for viewers who are just joining in now, data button works task basis. It executes task,
Mhm,
and you can see that in the
mhm.
planning section right now. Jian has already finished two tasks, and Jian is just creating a dummy task just to show us how a task. Yeah, and when you start a task, maybe Jian will just start one task. You will see. Yeah, let's start this task. You will see that that will just add over the prompt section, and that means data button is aligned towards a specific task. Its memory is now filled with the description or the activity or anything which you add, and here it goes. Here the task is now assigned to data button, and this is where you are very much aligned to towards, let's say, building your app. You have your authentication up, you have your Stripe up from the template, and the next part would be to add more features to your app. I don't know what task Jian gave. Write a new page. Okay, that's a new task which Jian gave to just as a demo, and it works right there. So it's very much aligned to your task, and this is something which is helping a lot of builders in Data Button, and people love this way of working, getting aligned to it. Jian, do you like to add something to this?
Yeah. So the beauty of task is that, as we have mentioned earlier, the large language model tends to get distracted if you have like too long context, or like it sort of
Hmm.
loses track of what he has done and what he has to do. And the beauty of task is that you give it a subtask. So you have a overarching goal. Maybe you want to create a restaurant ordering app. You break that person, you yourself break it down into like different tasks. I want this page, I want that page, I want Stripe integration, I want Firebase integration. So each of these is its own task. So even though you have determined like quite a narrow focus task, within each task, as a simple task like creating a page in itself has many different steps. What will be the UI component? What will be the color? What will be the layout? Some things like
Exactly.
that. And that's what having an active task set helps a lot in. Because if you see, um, we have this activity. So what this
This will
activity
get
does is
populated.
that,
Yeah,
yeah, as the agent goes on, it will write notes. The agent is like
yeah.
human, it write notes about what it has done so far, so it doesn't forget about it. It doesn't repeat what has been done already. So we are helping you save credits in this sense as well, and to improve the code writing performance.
Also, it's
So
more of a
sometimes it might,
collaboration. That's right.
yeah, yeah. And sometimes it tests method A. Method A doesn't work. It knows that it has tested method A. You try method B next. So that's why we keep emphasizing that we should always have an active task. And when we say active
Mhm.
task, it's this
That's
blue
the
little
part.
bubble on top of
Yeah,
you, on top of the chat
yeah.
input.
And if you don't like it, if you just want to have a normal conversation with the agent, you can just remove, you just unassign that part from there, and then it's gone. And then it's gone.
Yep.
Like once you just do it, it's gone. And if you now see that the agent has wrote some dummy page and it is already there, so the template is just to get you started. As Jian
Hmm.
showed the entire video, you
Hmm.
can have the authentication, you have the Stripe up and running, you
Hmm.
have the main part with the Stripe webhook call. That's kind of the most important part where Stripe interacts with the back end of Data Button, and then you have your Stripe integrated with Data Button itself. It's as simple as that. And everything is just with literally zero credits cost to start with the template. Jian, before we wrap
Mhm.
up this entire live session,
Yeah.
we just have another question. Yeah, what would be something which you say? How can this software cloner repo on GitHub or repurpose for white label products?
Uh, Clone a report, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know if anyone has like App Store Connect. If you created apps on the App Store before, but
Hmm.
the inspiration for this template was from the App Store Connect. Like if you see the layout of this is actually quite similar. We just trimmed down a lot of things. So you can't necessarily clone a repo from GitHub at this point. But what you can do is if the if the website that that you intend to clone
Yeah.
can be ran somewhere or is running somewhere, and you can screenshot it, just
I
screenshot
think,
it, attach it here, and it will recreate it for you. And that's how I
yeah,
created this thing.
I think that's a good point. Like one way to start with a pre-existing pre-existing app or something is a screenshot. But also, if you have something out over GitHub and you want data button to know about it, I think one way is you can actually pass the URL of that to data button and say research on this topic and grab the context. However, I feel that has limitations still, because yeah, it's not meant for forking something and start from there. It's more of it just gets a context out of it, but you don't just copy each and every line from it. You just gather the first, let's say, the overview of it, the higher outline of it, and then just reproducing things. So yeah, right now we don't have a cloner repo in GitHub and then repurpose it. We don't have that, to be honest.
Mhm.
But what we have is what Gian is showing. Take a screenshot, start from there. It's way faster. And
Yeah,
yeah, and then the
this
other question,
yeah.
I think. Sorry, Jen. Please go ahead. We'll
No,
take the next.
this probably what that doesn't work because there are too many details in Amazon.com that the agent can't really focus on one thing and keep every other thing. It doesn't really see as we do. But what you can do is sort of like tell it describe the layout and the structure and the styling
Yeah.
of the image and replicate that in whatever page you want. But sometimes this works. If you want to copy like a UI component, if you're able to find a nice component, like if you want to just copy the other button component, just screenshot it, add it here, and say make my button look like this, and it
Or you
will do
can,
it.
or they can use your annotate tool to do that.
Yeah, yeah, you can. Yeah, so yeah, it's quite cool.
Okay. No, I'm
Yeah,
just sorry. I didn't want to interrupt, but I wanted to highlight that part that they can use your annotate tool to
uh-huh.
say this part I like from this particular screenshot. Add this. Just
Yeah,
random thoughts. But let's take this
yeah.
question, which is very much aligned to the uh, task feature which we were discussing. Does task agent take a custom comment as a part of the task, or is it an internal note for user only?
This
Shall
task
I
agent.
shall I go with this question's
Yeah,
answer? I can start.
try features. Yeah.
But again, does task agent take a custom comment? Yeah, it can. So basically, when there's a task there, you can just go there, add comment to it. You can just go and add, I want to add something, add a comment, just add a comment, or you can just go. It's not for internal note. It's actually to work align with the agent.
Mhm.
you can just you can just even, I remember in our previous live stream, Dom added the Stripe pricing table script, that copy code snippet part out there, and agent used it. So it's not for internal note. It's way more powerful than that.
Mhm.
It's actually to, yes, to keep a note of what you are doing. Fantastic. We love to have to-do list. We love to have this what's done. But this is actually how the agent works. We pass this entire activity, this entire description back to the agent's mind. And it's not only one way. Just to add this part, it was very interesting, and I love the engineering behind it as the team has built it. Maybe one of the tasks which Gian we have completed already, maybe the add Stripe API key part. If you open,
Yeah.
let's open once. So if you see that part in the activity, it's two-way sync. Agent is also updating. Agent is using this part as well. So what it has done itself, it's adding that part. So it's two-way sync where we can add, agent can add, and together we have a task ready, or it's in progress, or something which you don't like, we just delete it. So everything is there, and task is pretty powerful. We found it
Yeah.
really useful, and people are using it in fantastic ways. Even people are breaking this into subtasks to make it way more aligned. It's initially when you create a new app, data button comes with the task, and then if you go on building, because data button is meant for building complex web apps, so when you just go on building and break down and create your own task as Jen is doing, or you can just break down a task into subtask and keep on building. All right, I think we have almost covered quite a bit today. We're built with a template. But I think this is fantastic. We should see the next template, which is way more exciting. Just a teaser. It's with Superbase integration. Jian is already cooking that, and Dom is already excited. And I think we'll invite Dom Jian for the next time to demo that,
Yeah.
so that
That's
there is no insider knowledge in that how the template is working. It will be Dom blindly trying out each of the features out there. So we should already have a next stream link shipped today or tomorrow. Okay, we'll do that.
Yeah. When am
So
I gonna do it?
we're gonna do this. We're gonna do with Superbase. We'll just build your favorite CRM tool or something which you like to build with Superbase, and
Mhm.
we do that. Perfect.
Sounds
Yeah.
By
great.
the way, before we just end this, Jian, it was
Yeah.
fantastic. I know it was your first live stream. I know you're a bit nervous to it.
Yeah.
You really, really, I mean, if I am from the audience perspective, I loved it. Okay. You
You did a
showcased
Thank
great
you.
job. Great job.
Thank
It
you.
was excellent.
and I know, like, for an engineer to do this entire thing, it's really, really fantastic, man. So, and everyone who has joined it, I think a lot of people are still there. Thanks a lot. Leave the comments and join our Discord community. They're a fantastic bunch of people. Jian is always coming there with. We have a Discord stream as well on Tuesdays. Jian is there. Jian will give much more details about how he built this entire templates, what he's building, what else he gonna do. We had, I think Jian also had this clone app feature. That's also something which he did, and those things all came from the community feedback. So we'd love to have you all. Would love to have you all over the Discord channel. So please, guys,
Thank
join
you.
there,
Thank you.
give us feedback, and yeah, great job, Jiang, for your first live stream and showing it off. It's
Thanks,
not so
everyone.
easy, and really appreciate. And Dom, as always, appreciate, man, and it's fantastic.
Thanks,
But
Dom.
next week, Dom, with Jian's next template, we'll see you.
Okay. Looking forward to it.
Yeah,
Okay,
might have to consult
take
Dom
care.
on some super base tips.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly, and we'll be watching. Perfect, guys. Thank you, everyone, for
Thanks,
who
everyone.
joined. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Let's end this stream.